Okay, we're going to dive into the last part of this series on why stretching is not or may not be working for you. In the first foundational, the first video I put out, I talked about kind of muscle, how it works, how it doesn't work, how we've been kind of told and educated about how it works, and kind of cleared up some of that. So go back and view that if you did not. On this video, I want to talk about a viable option for actually increasing range of motion that doesn't involve stretching. Actually, almost the complete opposite. For those of you that have been stretching for a while and it has made a difference, great. That's fantastic. There's probably a lot more of you out there that have been stretching and it's not working. And either you've been told you need to stretch more, or you need to stretch harder or longer, or that you're doing it wrong. Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth. See, what is actually happening that causes that tight muscle is actually a lack of information coming back from one of the sensors that sits inside of our muscle tissue, okay? This information comes from what's called the muscle spindle. And that muscle spindle sends information back to your system about what's happening with muscles, particularly opposing muscles. So let's say your bicep is going to communicate with your tricep. And this is low level, keeping it very simple. As I shorten to bring a burger to my mouth and my bicep shortens to approximate or bring that burger up to my mouth, the tricep then needs to get longer. Okay, so burger coming up, biceps getting shorter, triceps getting longer. The muscle spindles in my bicep are telling the tricep what my bicep is trying to do. So if my bicep is shortening, the tricep needs to lengthen. If the muscle spindles, which is a little sensor that feeds all that information back to your nervous system, aren't able to contract at the same rate as my bicep, meaning if there's a neurological weakness or lack of sensitivity in those spindles, what will happen is as I bring that burger up to my mouth, my bicep is going to reach a point where there's not enough information coming back to my nervous system, and the tricep, in response to that lack of information, is then going to tighten up. Why is it doing that? It's doing that to protect the connective tissue and the joints. If I was just able to blow through any range of motion, no matter what I was doing, and there wasn't this feedback loop regulating the motion between, then my joints would be pulled out of alignment and I would just accelerate wear and tear much faster. So this is a built-in mechanism to protect us. So tightness isn't a problem. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic thing to have there. It's actually allowing us not to damage our bodies further. So a lot of times when we stretch, we're actually telling the body, no, I got this specialist on the outside. We're going to stretch this muscle because it shouldn't be tight, okay? And what we're doing in a sense is we're telling this supercomputer that is our nervous system that just ignore those signals that you're getting or not getting from those sensors inside the supercomputer. This needs to look the same way it looks on the other side, and we're going to use this practitioner is going to use their own force to then move that joint into a position, which a few things can happen. It might make the pain worse. It could make the pain feel better, short term or long term. But there's some things that's actually happening, and I'll touch on in another video if that is the case. Most often, the clients I see have been told that they need to stretch more, they need to stretch more often, and they need to stretch harder, and that's why their discomfort and their pain is not going away. The alternative to that is, instead of being so hyper-focused on the tight muscle in that equation, so in this burger to the mouth scenario, that tightness the individual would experience in the back of the shoulder into the tricep, instead of going after the tightness and saying, oh, get out of there, let's smash that check engine light and get rid of that tightness that's protecting you, what if we looked at the muscles that were on this side of the equation that needed to actually contract and send information so that that burger could come up to my mouth? Completely different than 99% of other modalities out there. So what I do with muscle activation techniques and then the number of different neuromuscular techniques that we use here is we identify where those weak muscles are. Instead of just assuming because something's not lengthening or there's a tightness there that it's a problem, we look at the whole body and say, okay, where is this individual having trouble contracting muscles? And then through a very, very specific neuromuscular approach, we activate those fibers that we find weak. Once those muscles are identified and activated and firing again, range of motion will naturally open up, and that tight muscle, believe it or not, automatically goes away. And it's going away because we address the underlying issue that particular individual is having. So if you've been stretching and it's getting you mixed results, or it's not helping you at all, or you're just frustrated with being told that you need to be doing more of it, come see me, shoot me a text. I'd love to have a conversation with you and see if you're a viable candidate for what it is here I do at Fitness-Tek. Have a great day. Hope that helps, everyone.